They say that education influences how one subscribes to certain political ideologies. The more educated you are, the more likely you'll believe in more liberal principles. Now, just to decouple the word liberal from its local connotations, liberalism is generally characterized by support of civil and human rights, democracy, enjoyment of freedoms, and participation in a market economy. Such studies done elsewhere have found this to be quite sound. In our side of the world, at least, this seems to hold true anecdotally. Most of my friends and acquaintances who come from schools with education programs grounded on the humanities do display liberal ideologies. Many have been quite critical of the current administration due to alleged human rights abuses and authoritarian policies. But there are definitely exceptions. For instance, despite graduating with degrees from the humanities, some contacts of mine have been quite rabid supporters of this administration and for these coming elections of the so-called Unity Alliance or whatever. There are some who even totally reject the idea that abuses and atrocities were committed during the martial law era. Never mind if we studied under professors who were actual detainees who shared first-hand accounts of the abuses they experienced. Fellow alumni and I wonder why this is the case for some of our peers. I mean, we all went through the same courses in history, communication, philosophy, logic, and political thought. We all had access to accurate and credible information sources, and it's not as if one could simply claim bias in local historical accounts. Researchers and courts worldwide have found these atrocities to be fact, and yet these people still display zealous support for those personalities. Now, it would make perfect sense if these ardent supporters were employed as paid trolls, since they're paid to spread lies. I may not agree with working as a political troll, but considering how tough it can be to earn these days, I understand. It's also understandable if you're one of those allied politically with these personalities and gain something favorable from your support. Again, I don't approve of it, but I understand. Nakikinabang ka eh. But if you gain absolutely no benefit from being a diehard, it just defies common sense. So how do we try and explain all of this? Here's my proposal. Scan their brains. That would at least check if they do have functioning brains up there or if they're actual zombies. But seriously, it would be really interesting to find out how their brains function when processing information about politics and the personalities they support. About a decade ago, they did a study of brain scans to see how people's brains function in reaction to super brands like Apple. They found out that among Apple fans, the brand stimulated parts of the brain similar to where religious imagery prompts reactions among the faithful. In another study of sports fans, MRI scans showed activity in parts of the brain associated with rewards-based decision-making and addiction when shown clips of their team scoring or getting advantage over their opponents. Now, my hypothesis is that something similar may be happening with these local diehard supporters. It's not uncommon to consider favored personalities as personal messiahs. Supporters may experience a strong connection or euphoria from the experience. Neuroscience and psychology have been used to explore political phenomena. There's actually a subfield called political neuroscience. A more recent study in the field tried to make sense of the Trump effect in the United States, where they found that the former president's inflammatory speech encouraged others to express their prejudices more openly. So, why not try to make better sense of what's happening in our country through science? Too bad we don't seem to have similar research being done locally. I hope I'm wrong, but I haven't heard of any such project being undertaken here in the Philippines. Experts have been chiming in on the DDS phenomena, but I haven't found one that applies neuroscience. I wonder if MRIs are even accessible to psychologists and social scientists. I just know that hospitals charge a lot for MRI scans. Even in the top universities, cross-disciplinary research of this nature has only been encouraged recently. So I don't know who's collaborating with whom. Also, another sad thing is, research has always been costly in our country, and it's mostly frowned upon in our smart-shaming society. Makes you wonder what good such a research would do aside from satisfying curiosity. All the while, those of us who might be interested in finding out the results of such a study may have already condemned fanatics as lost causes anyway.